Welcome to this explainer. If you missed a tax deadline because something real happened in your life, you were hospitalized, a family member passed away, a natural disaster hit your area, your tax preparer dropped the ball, the IRS has a formal process for removing your penalty. It's called reasonable cause relief, and the way you request it is with a letter. Now, here's the thing. Most people who write a reasonable cause letter get denied, not because they didn't have a good reason, but because they didn't know how to present it. The IRS evaluates these letters using a very specific framework, and if your letter doesn't address that framework, it doesn't matter how compelling your story is. So today, we're going to walk through exactly how to write a letter that actually gets approved. The IRS's evaluation framework comes from the Internal Revenue Manual, Section 20.1.1.3, and it's built on 4 factors. Think of these as 4 questions the IRS agent will ask when they read your letter. Factor 1. What happened? This is where you describe the specific event, and the key word here is specific. I was sick gets denied. I was hospitalized at St. Mary's Medical Center from March 2nd through April 20th, 2024 for an emergency appendectomy followed by complications requiring a second surgery. That does not get denied. Dates, locations, medical providers, specific circumstances. That's what the IRS needs. Factor 2. How did this prevent you from filing or paying? This is the causal connection, and it's where a lot of letters fall apart. You need to draw a direct line between the event and your inability to comply. I was in the hospital during the filing period and was physically unable to prepare or file my return. That's strong. I was going through a hard time. That is not. Factor 3. What ordinary business care did you exercise? This one surprises people. The IRS wants to see that you were being responsible before the event happened. Did you keep records? Did you have a system for tracking deadlines? Were you generally compliant? This factor is about showing the IRS that you would have complied if you could have. It's your good faith evidence. Factor 4. What corrective action did you take? Once the event passed and you were able to act, what did you do? Did you file as soon as possible? Did you set up a payment plan? Did you seek professional help? The IRS wants to see that you resolved the situation promptly once you could. Hit all 4 factors clearly and specifically, and you have a strong letter. Miss one, and the IRS has grounds to deny. Now, let me talk about the 11 recognized categories, because the IRS doesn't accept any random excuse. Their manual specifically identifies these categories as potentially qualifying: serious medical illness or injury, death of a close family member, natural disaster such as a hurricane or earthquake, fire or casualty that destroyed records, reliance on a tax professional who gave incorrect advice, inability to obtain necessary records despite reasonable effort, active military service, incarceration, mental incapacity, and other circumstances genuinely beyond your control. Each category has its own nuances. For medical reasons, the IRS wants to see documentation from a healthcare provider, not just your word for it. For reliance on a professional, they want to see proof that you engaged the professional before the deadline, and not just your word for it. For natural disasters, FEMA declarations matter. Here's a critical tip. Don't apologize, don't beg, and don't express anger at the IRS. State the facts, cite the IRM section, attach your documentation. That's what works. The IRS agent reviewing your letter is checking boxes against the framework, not evaluating how sympathetic your story is. Another common mistake, being vague about the timeline. If you say, I was sick for a while, that gives the IRS agent nothing to verify. If you say, I was diagnosed on February 15th, underwent surgery on February 22nd, and was released on March 8th, with a recovery period through May 1st, during which I was unable to manage financial affairs. That's verifiable, specific, and compelling. Now, here's where I want to make your life easier. The tool at ustaxpenaltysaver.com has a reasonable cause letter generator that walks you through this entire process. You pick your category: medical, death in the family, natural disaster, whichever applies. It asks you for the specific dates and details, and it generates a complete letter that addresses all 4 IRS factors in the IRS's own language. It also tells you what supporting documents to attach for your specific reason, provides sample letters that your doctor or employer can sign on your behalf, and includes the correct IRS Service Center address for your state. You print it, sign it, and mail it. One more strategic note. If you also qualify for first-time abatement, use that first. FTA is easier, faster, and doesn't require documentation. Save reasonable cause for additional years, or as your backup if FTA doesn't apply. The letter generator is free at ustaxpenaltysaver.com. It takes about 5 minutes, and it turns what most people spend hours struggling with into a structured, professional document that the IRS takes seriously. This is general information, not legal or tax advice. For your particular situation, consult a licensed tax professional.